one.
Can they not?
No.
Oh, see, I can see the top of my head. Oh, perfect.
I know. But if we drop it too low, then... Hey, everybody!
We're sitting today.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Look, you can see me from here up, which means you can't see my fat belly.
Yeah.
So, the reason why we're keeping it high up is because we're going to be standing up, walking around. And tonight is the first night of our hour show, and we are streaming live on YouTube
And Facebook.
and Facebook. And we messed up. I messed up last week on downloading this to YouTube. We've been trying to figure out what happened to last week's show.
It's out there, but it's like, if you guys want to watch last week's show, let us know. We'll send you the link.
Right, if on YouTube. Otherwise, it's available on our Facebook page.
Yep.
And we're still working to get that put on.
Yep, it's there. We just can't figure out why the name, when you search it, it
Who
doesn't
knows?
pop up.
I like how we look on this better than I do that. People are saying hello.
Hi.
Yes, it's Tuesday, David. Hopefully, so we're gonna. Oh look, we have somebody on YouTube. Hello! I'm so happy you guys joined us. Our YouTube's starting to climb. I love it.
Yay!
We're gonna be talking about ashtrays.
Ashtrays, yeah.
Ashtrays and the history of smoking for the most part. And we're sitting because we're going to start doing a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about today.
Yes. So we're just gonna fill some time in for a few minutes until we get some more people
Some new
on.
viewers.
And I love it because we are getting it's starting to climb. I love it. Okay, so let's get started then. Shall
Okay,
we?
yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, so what do you have to tell us about ashtrays? Because ashtrays, you know, in a world where we don't really smoke, it's taboo to smoke cigarettes.
Sure.
And if you do smoke, it's a lot of it's electronic for the most
Yep,
part.
a lot of people vape now, depending on your age.
And I know that a lot of people still use cigarettes, so ashtrays are necessary.
Yep, grand folks.
But because more people don't smoke, what do we do with all these ashtrays? During the world of 1980, 90s and back,
And being able to smoke anywhere and everywhere.
anytime and all the time.
And it was a definite big thing for people. I mean, literally, like I was just talking about how you could smoke on a plane. I found that
Yeah.
out today.
Yeah, my
That
very
is
first
so-
plane ride was that you could smoke.
And that is so dangerous
Mhm.
to me. Like, what if someone fell asleep and a fire started?
You're
like,
flying over the country in a tin can. I doubt it's going to be any more
I
dangerous
know,
than that.
Right.
But yes, you could smoke on the planes, you could smoke in the hospitals, you could smoke, I mean, in the teacher's lounge at school, you
That's
could
so
smoke
crazy.
anywhere. This country was built on tobacco sales,
Mhm.
import and export of tobacco sales. So there was a time in the past when not smoking was considered un-American,
Sure.
because in America, our main export was tobacco leaves.
Yep. So they were like,
So-
why are you exporting and importing it, but you guys aren't using it?
No, we're not using it anymore, but we still do export it quite a bit. What do you have to tell us?
Cool. All right, so let's get started here with the first thing I learned was the first example of ashtrays were around the early 19th century, which you have something important.
Yeah, I do.
Don't
and
forget that.
Yep, I won't.
They were in the common use by the late Victorian period. By the early part of the 20th century, ashtrays were designed and had involved to provide models of various scales for all smoking needs between 1850 and 1910.
So one of the things I thought was cool was, people smoked cigarettes and tobacco, hand-rolled tobacco, for generations.
A long time.
For hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So the ashtray, however, was not mass-produced or even considered a decoration until the 1900s, the early 1900s, late 1800s, when it became socially acceptable for ladies to smoke.
Yep.
And once it became socially acceptable for ladies to smoke, they needed to have the house look all put together. So that is when the design aspect of ashtrays came into
Yes.
to play. And they were very, very adamant on getting, beautiful
Matching ashtrays.
beautiful matching ashtrays, colorful ashtrays, something that will enhance the decor of their home.
Look at those colors.
I know. Look at this. It's glass.
It'll match
So
your
what kind of-
tablecloth.
So those of you who were with us last week at our glass store, what kind of glass is this? Come on, people.
I know. Let us know. in the
David,
comments. I
Mom,
wanna know.
somebody, what kind of glass is
Literally.
this? I know.
I don't know.
I'm going to put family on the spot. No. This is amber glass.
Oh yeah, and it's the two-tone.
It's the two-tone amber glass. So, it's really nice. And one of the things I know, isn't that fantastic?
Hi, Mom.
Is that your mom?
Your mom.
Oh, my mom. Oh, very good. So, I cannot see in here. So,
So yeah, if you see me looking down, I'm just reading your guys' comments
right,
just from my
because
phone.
with the light reflection, I can barely see you unless you want to see my face in close up.
This will be easier till I sit
So
right here.
amber glass, and if you notice, these are from the 50s and 60s, and we'll get into that in a minute. But it was all about how gorgeous it was.
Yeah.
In the house.
And how everything matched everything. Your doilies matched your tablecloths, and your ashtrays matched the cups,
Yep.
the plates, and everything that goes with it.
It got so much to where whenever you set a place setting, they had individual ashtrays for each person sitting there because everybody smoked.
And speaking of individual ashtrays, because everybody smoked, we have a great piece here that is perfect for the house party. And if you have smokers,
now I wish I had the petal leaf one that
That'd
pulled the
be cool.
petals out. That was
Yeah.
beautiful. But this it would be sitting in the center of your table, and you see the hole here. This would either be for your lighter or for matches, right? Or for rolled cigarettes because they rolled their cigarettes back then. For and then you could.
You
I
tell
have
them
no.
here.
Thank you. I have no.
I'll say you
cigarette.
tell them here, don't burn my couch.
And then they can
Take
sit the
that.
ashtray next to them while they're doing it, and then it gets put back in once it's washed and cleaned, and there are no cigarette burns or butts on the inside. It's shocking.
And that was a very main point that Jason wanted to point out to me was
Yeah.
back then is that everybody took care of their ashtrays. They needed to be spick span clean. They needed to be as clean as your house was, because it looked messy.
Because
and
those
not.
of us who grew up with in the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and further back for those of you, seeing those overfilled ashtrays were gross.
Yeah, and they stink.
They would.
And they're messy.
And so the good entertainer would be always floating around empty those ashtrays.
Yep.
It would keep the burns from happening in the piece in the ashtrays themselves.
It would keep it smelling good in the house.
Yep, and they would be able to dump it out. So some of the other cool ashtrays, and it doesn't surprise me that it took until it was socially acceptable for women to smoke, for them to actually start looking good.
I know, right?
Well, guys, they're just like everything
just
else.
wanna smoke to
they
get it over
smoke,
with,
it
yeah.
goes into it on the ground for the most
Yep,
part.
or a bucket, and then
Or
they're
a
like
bucket
good.
or
Yep.
something like that. Because men are gross when it comes to stuff like that. Because we'll just throw it out and then be done with it.
That really, yeah.
You know, I'm a firm believer that men would be gone if it wasn't for women.
Yeah, we
And,
had a great talk
you
about
know,
that.
Yeah, because they actually keep men from killing themselves.
For sure.
So ashtrays are a piece of art. So in the 1800s, ashtrays were standard.
Yep.
Okay.
Basic.
Late 1800s, early 1900s, ashtrays were standard. They were basic, probably just a little black or something. It was the 1920s when the Art Deco movement happened that your higher end pottery and glass companies started making the ashtrays, right? So that way, when the housewife would go and buy go to the like Hudson's and buy stuff for the house, they would pick out the
A
ashtrays,
nice high quality
high
ashtray.
quality ashtray that they could use over and over
Time,
again, and it would
yeah.
last forever because they took care of it, because they were soft handled,
And I would say
not
they were
hard
also,
handed like me.
and they were also made with quality glass or ceramics at the time too.
Yeah, and then there's the rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall.
Yep.
So ashtrays had a rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. They got really hot in the 1950s, well, in the 1920s, because it was all party season with the Art Deco movement, and everybody had flapper dress, parties and all sorts of stuff. The big long cigarettes. And so what would happen back then if the lady of the house was out shopping and she was smoking, because you could smoke it. Now, this is what is shocking to a lot of people, is back then you could smoke while you shopped.
Which is so. What if you burned something while you were shopping?
It was part of doing business. My
Crazy.
question was, how much of the clothes stunk?
Stunk, yeah.
So I was a smoker for 30 years.
Glad
you
you're
know.
not.
So I smoked from age 13 to age 41, and I'm 52 now. So I have been,
Heck yeah.
I've been clean.
Heck yeah.
Well, I've been stopped smoking cigarettes, but so they walk around and smoke. So one of the things is this. Why don't you tell us about this?
Honestly, David, you're gonna love this. This is a pocket ashtray.
Or purse ashtray.
Or purse ashtray
Mhm.
for people who have a purse or a bag or a backpack. So my favorite part is right here. I don't know if you guys bring it a little bit closer for Facebook, for the YouTube people. See that little piece right here? That's where you could set your cigarette
Mhm.
to let it rest. Like, you're like, oh, sorry, let me grab this. You can put your cigarette and let it wait right there.
On the
Just-
counter.
Yep, on the counter. You let your cigarette rest, and then you just go.
And then
put
right
it-
back into the purse.
See, didn't I tell you he was going to say, I need it.
Yep.
I knew he
So,
was going to need
these-
it.
I'm telling you, if you were a lady walking around and you
Yep.
pulled out one of these, you were of
High
a
class.
high class
Yep.
nature, because you could smoke anywhere and not
Worry about
pollute.
anything.
Aren't those cute? Now people use these today for pills.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we've gone from smoking to taking pills.
Pills, yeah.
And so they would use these for a pill, like any type of pills, or that's about all you could really use it for, because my head gets cut off. That's about all you could really use it for, because there's not much room in there.
Sure.
Kind of like one of the things as we get through here, and we have an hour today, so you guys get to watch us for an hour or come and go.
Yeah.
So, like this, which is kind of a thing of the past, because even if you use a cigarette today, this is not going to be big enough.
Sure. And also
Okay.
being able to smoke anywhere and all the time.
Right.
They actually stopped putting ashtrays inside of cars around the 1900s.
Well, no, they've kept ashtrays in cars until the 1970s.
They're just not so
1990s.
big, and they don't
No,
have
they
all
got
the
really
extra
smaller
things.
and
Yep,
smaller
and they're smaller.
Now the cars don't even have them.
Have them. Yep.
Yeah, so that's why they use these for pills.
Yep.
So it was kind of a double entendre there.
Sure. Heck yeah.
We've gone from smoking to
Smoking
pills,
to pills.
and these are good for pills. So, anyways, we really haven't gone to pills. I'm just joking.
Yeah. You
Kind
guys
of
will
like
learn
the
that.
cigarette holder.
Yeah. How they got, they're a lot smaller, and cigarettes now are too large.
They're too big, yeah.
So they're not going to fit
Like everything
in
else in
the
the world.
old school cigarette holders.
So, the cigarette holders, because cigarettes were hand rolled,
Yep. So they're a lot
and they did
thinner,
have filters,
and they were smaller.
and they were smaller. So, in today's society, our cigarettes would not fit in those,
Yep.
especially if you have Capris, which are, I swear to God,
Are like 5 miles long.
they're straws. And so, you use them for credit cards.
Read that. Yeah.
Front edge of what?
Like a desk or like a
Oh, I
dresser.
know. And it ruins it, trust me, because you set the cigarette down and you walk away. Yeah, and half the house is burnt down probably because of that. So, Steve, you switched over to Time Warp Auditorium. I think you might want to switch back. Otherwise, just stay on that. So, these are good for pills today.
Uh-huh.
The cigarette holders, the little cool things that you open up and pull a cigarette out of.
Yeah.
Those are good for credit cards and money.
Yep. So it doesn't smash things
Right, or
because they're usually
carry
made
your
out of
joints
metal.
around
Yep.
in them. You shouldn't be carrying them around anyways. So, anyways, those are those. But some of the other cool things is we're going to show you some of these ashtrays first. Check it out. So this is a 1960s, hand painted in Italy. Look at this, hand painted in Italy, right? So smoking wasn't just an American ideology. This is an ashtray. Isn't that fabulous?
It is nice.
So somebody who loves to collect animals, or I think this is a gazelle or a horse.
It's a horse for sure.
A horse, yeah, there's no thing. Horses, something like this would be ideal. And what could I put in this other than smoking?
You could put your keys in it, or your jewelry while you're washing
Mhm.
dishes, or while you're cooking, or when you go to sleep at night. You could put your earrings in there, your
Mhm.
necklace, your watch, wallet,
These would be great for sitting on the vanity and
Mhm.
putting your jewelry in.
or your makeup brushes while you're
Yeah.
interchanging between brush to brush.
And they're vitrified, meaning they have a glass coating so you can easily wash them.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty cool. So there are different things you can do for ashtrays.
Absolutely.
But like for instance, you've got something like this.
I also brought a few ashtrays from home
Yes.
as well.
Tell us about that. Now, what kind of glass is that?
This is pink. Well, does it have like a legitimate name for the
Depression
color?
glass.
Well, I know it's depression
Oh,
glass, but did the pink
no,
have
no,
like
pink.
a pink? So this is pink depression glass.
And it's the feathers.
Yep, and it's the feathers. David and I got this like I think 2 years ago. Really far away from here. We were totally not even in Michigan. But yeah, it's really cool. It's got like this little extinguisher here in the middle. They don't even make ashtrays with the extinguisher anymore. And also, old school ashtrays always used to have the basic 4 points around the corners, only because you were gossiping with your girlfriends. You guys would set it down in the middle. You guys could all smoke at the same time and have a place to set your cigarette.
That's a beautiful pink depression. Now,
Thank you.
when the three that she's showing you, those are hers. She's showing you because we don't have any depression glass ones here. That's a beautiful piece.
Thank you. I really liked the embellishment. I'll bring it a little bit closer just so you guys could see it. And it's just plain basic in the middle. It's got like the 2 points here. But heck yeah, dude. I really love off the wall things. And when I seen these ashtrays in depression glass, I knew they were a need.
Glass is a great medium when it comes to smoking ashtrays because glass is easily cleaned.
Yep.
However, glass is porous, so you want to be careful. Over years, it'll start to butt out.
And change
So,
color.
stuff like this. Look at the red in this. Now, this is a Treasure Craft, and Treasure Craft, I know it's by Treasure Craft, which is pottery because of the back of it, okay?
It's matte.
And the wood look.
Right.
That's
Okay,
Treasure
sure.
Craft.
Is that their signature stamp?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And USA, it says right on it. But something like this was probably a tourist ashtray, even though it doesn't say anything on it. Because of the fact that it is a Treasure Craft, and Treasure Craft does a lot of touristy stuff, that's why I think it's a Treasure Craft. However, look at the color.
I love it.
The red color. Now, it almost seems like a sin to put a cigarette out in this.
I know, right? Because it's so
Right.
clean and perfect.
But they did. But they cleaned and made it perfect. So today, you could makeup brushes are a great idea because of these.
Oh, and even, I'm glad you pulled this one out. If you guys paint,
Yep.
when your paintbrushes are wet and you're washing them off, you could use these little spicks here to hold your brushes so they dry faster.
Yeah, you could even use this for paint because it's vitrified.
Yep, exactly.
And you can wash it out. So paint brushes for makeup brushes or just catch-alls.
Yep, catch up. Jewelry, keys,
Yep.
wallet.
Another good thing is potpourri.
Yep, that's a really good option.
Potpourri made its huge entrance in the 1980s.
Yep.
Everything was potpourri driven. So this is good for potpourri. It's also good for candy,
Yeah, oh, that's actually a
for
really
a candy dish.
I didn't even think of that.
But we have a customer who actually went beyond all of that. And one of the cool things that the customer did beyond all that was he looks at these as pieces of art and he puts them on his wall.
We love good wall art.
And this is not only would it be good art, but it's a great history lesson for children.
And if you also find like an older ashtray that has, I'm gonna use this one for
Yeah.
example, even though it doesn't have it, but this would be pretty much what it would look like. Usually the ashtrays would be hollow on the inside and this would have like a big opening where it would be hollow. That would give you perfect prime example on how you can hang it and create wall art, because a lot of the ones that are hollow don't have the
And even if they
holding
don't, you can get
spigots.
plate stands,
Yep,
plate holders
or guitar
for the
holders that
wall,
works
or
too.
guitar holders for a wall. Another popular thing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s were homemade.
Nice.
Okay. And it was funny because when we made ashtrays in school, or when we made pottery in school, like, during arts and craft time when you were really young and stuff like that, in the 70s, we would make ashtrays for our family. So you had a bunch of little kids making ashtrays.
That's so cute though.
Okay, so how
I
many of
didn't
us
even
made
know it.
ashtrays as a kid?
I know David
So,
has.
this one was made in 2005 by Zach.
Nice.
Made it by Zach right here, 2005. And it's homemade, and it's an ashtray.
Zach,
So-
if you're watching, let us know if you made this.
No kidding. So homemade ashtrays like this should be in every household almost that growing up, because it always was a gift. I don't know how many ashtrays I gave to my dad and stepmom in my first 10 years making stuff like this. And not just this, but just when you make anything.
Anything.
And usually, because your dad always had a cigarette in his hand, that's the first thing you'd think of.
And David's first comment says, "I got in trouble for making an ashtray in ceramics in high school."
Oh, did he? Well, that's funny because, David, you're probably 2 generations after me. And so it was okay in my school,
But
they just finished spanking people
Spanking,
then.
right? With
So
rulers.
today it's may not be the biggest thing in school, but back then it was. What's that other one you have there?
Oh, this silver
Or what
one?
other information do you got?
Oh, okay. Well, Jason did inform me that this was not an ashtray, which
Technically.
technically it's not an ashtray, but I mean,
Mhm.
it's still functional. This
Yes.
is just like a tray that I brought from my house
Mhm.
that I thought was pretty. It's just cut crystal. It does have little ridges, but not anything
Mhm.
significant that you would consider in an ashtray. But yeah, again, you could use these
This
things
is
for
ideal and a great example of how anything can be an ashtray and an ashtray can be anything.
anything. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess this is for a cake stand.
Well, not a cake stand. There was probably something that sat on it, maybe a cream and sugar,
Sure.
something like that, or it could just be a tray for something.
And we've been using it as a catch-all this whole time.
And that's
so.
perfect. That's what those should be for. You know, and then during the 1950s, okay, and 60s, when the mod period started, you know, as we're leaving the 50s into the 60s,
Yeah.
ashtrays became figural. And they became more unique, more different, more fun, right? So you had ashtrays in like this that depicted things like the Gulf.
Oh, nice.
And this is a pot medal, right?
Yep.
Or the boy peeing. That's a famous statue.
So these masks,
Yeah.
these and show our viewers.
And this one is very similar to the famous statue of the boy peeing. And that one is a golfer, and this is all pot metal, this is brass. And here we have what it says right here.
Patrick Henry James O'Toole scared the fishes in the pool. Pat is always up to tricks. Ain't he cute? He's only 6.
So it's the little boy peeing, that's from the fountain, but as you can see, it's an ashtray.
Yep.
Mhm.
So here's for the Facebook folks.
Yeah. And this one is brass, which is pretty cool. And then, you know, they got into all sorts of stuff, like people who like sailboating. So you could do anything. So if you're smoking on your boat, if you're this is somebody, it says, but I can't read what it says. So they made all sorts of different ashtrays. Now, do you have something else you want to say?
I do. I was reading
Okay.
it just to make sure I could pronounce his name. Seguso. So designed in the 1970s, chosen descendant of the timeless Segugos family of glass masters from Italy. Their craft has been passed down from their father to son for 22 generations, beginning in 1397.
1397. Can't even comprehend the fact that the 80s was 40 years ago, let alone 1300.
And it says, just to wrap that up, as population began to understand the dangers of smoking, design and production of them started to take that decline, as we were talking about how it keeps doing that little mountain effect there.
So a couple of the other things about ashtrays is souvenirs and advertisement. So we're talking souvenirs and advertisement. As you traveled, a lot of people picked up magnets, a lot of people picked up postcards, but then there were a lot of people who picked up little ashtrays.
And matches that match.
And matches that match. So, something like this is more 1970s, and this is the San Francisco, as you can see here with it, and you've got the trolley. The inside of the trolley holds the cigarettes. Isn't that cool?
That was nice.
This is easily for the wall.
Yeah, because I'll show them the back. That's a perfect piece.
Yeah.
See how it's got that hollow lip?
Yeah.
That's like a perfect representation on how you can hang that on the wall.
It absolutely is. Something like this, and as you can see, this was probably used at one time, but they really took care of it, right? So something like this, you come across it at your parents' house. It's a great wall art, especially for a nice. For somebody who likes to travel. What do you got there?
And speaking about how they tried to make smoking socially acceptable no matter if you were male or female, or if you were 25 or 45, they wanted to have every excuse on why you should consider smoking. And that's when tabletop lighters come into play. Jason actually showed me one of these earlier and how you can refill it, and it made me want one that much more. No one will ever steal it, and that's
the loose site.
yes.
The stuff in the loose site.
And that's no one will ever steal this. Who could put this in their pocket and walk away with it? You'd notice. And then just to
We tape
refill
this so
that.
they stay in here. You got it?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
So just to refill it, it just takes a basic butane tip, which I thought it was going to be way more complicated than that. And they're beautiful. We have tons of different styles here. We have this beautiful blue one over here.
Yep, the blue
This one's
lucite.
a little bit smaller.
Isn't that beautiful?
Show this one up close a little bit. And I always thought these were pretty rad.
Now, you remember how we were talking about how, and this is going to tie into what she was saying. Remember last week we were talking about how Carnival glass is poor man's Tiffany, right? So she's going to show you a poor man's table lighter.
Oh, yes.
Okay? And we call this a poor man's table lighter because of the way that it's made.
You're talking about this,
Go
right?
right
Okay,
ahead.
cool.
Mhm.
So, David, you were also going to freak out about this as well, because when Jason pulled this out and showed it to me, I'm like, oh, that's a clipper lighter. This is a little contraption that would literally take your standalone clipper lighter that are refillable and turn it into a tabletop lighter. No one's going to
Pull it
put
out.
this in their pocket. It's huge.
From the top.
From the top? Oh, you can pull it out from the
Yeah.
top? Oh, yeah. Cool.
See?
It's just a normal clipper lighter.
And this is your table. This
Yep.
is your holder.
And that's the contraption that holds it.
So those would go hand in hand with.
I'm buying one on Thursday. I
It's already up there. They would go hand in hand with your ashtrays
And I
because it would sit on the table.
They're so cool too, and this one has like a crazy ship on it too, so they have whole different
And
styles.
they are by Cricut.
Cricket. Yep.
They are by Cricut, as you can see that.
Imagine.
Mm-hmm. So some of the other ones. Now these are cool advertising
Yeah.
ashtrays that I'm going to show you in a moment. They're also ashtrays there's also ashtrays that were used at the place.
Yep.
And one of them is an airline ashtray that was used on the plane.
So great.
And most likely for the this one would probably be most likely either for first class upstairs or first class period, or for the pilots. And what it is this is Air France. Okay, it's Air France. So this would have been on the plane. Now a funny fact: the first time I ever flew, I flew from Michigan to California, right?
Nice.
And then the second time I flew was from California to Hawaii. And my grandmother flew from Hawaii to, my grandma Warren flew from Hawaii to California to pick me up and take me to Hawaii. Okay, and because it was my first time really coming to Hawaii and second time on a plane, she did it first class.
Sure.
Okay, so I got to fly on a 747, two-story, first class. Okay, all thanks to my wonderful, beautiful grandmother, who's no longer with us.
Aw. Grandma.
And it was amazing.
Oh, I
you could
bet.
go upstairs and there was cheese spread and you could lay, and I will never forget it. It's like the movies. I swear to God, the spiral staircase down. To
Oh
the
no
front.
way, really?
Yes, it was everything I thought. It was everything that was on TV.
That you seen and you were just
Yes.
you were like, this is it.
And my grandmother's like, go explore. But there are ashtrays everywhere up there. Not Air France, of course.
Right.
But there were ashtrays everywhere up there. So everybody got to smoke on the first few flights. Now, when I turned, and that went on for a while, okay?
Yep.
And so when I was 17, I went to New York with my friend Sandy, and you could smoke on the flight there.
So crazy.
Then it changed while we were in New York, and on the way home, you couldn't smoke.
Yeah, so they actually did. It says Congress passed legislation banning smoking on U.S. domestic
Yeah.
flights of less than 2 hours.
Well, you got to remember. Yeah, that was at first.
And then
for
it
less
says
than
it
2
became
hours.
effective in 1988, and then the new law was made permanent and extended to flights of less than 6 hours in 1990.
Right. So, yeah. Isn't that crazy? That's about when I turned.
That's so crazy.
I know, and it's funny because all the air is circulated, so all that cigarette smoke is circulated. But you know
Right.
what? You got to remember, those of us who grew up in those decades, we didn't know any better.
No, yeah, for sure.
That we thought that was fresh air.
Right.
So what is this? And the reason I know it was on a plane because look at the bottom of it.
It's all
It's all matted, so that way it doesn't slide.
slide
Isn't that
and
crazy?
scrape up the.
So something like this, you could use as a catch-all. But this would be something for a family member that traveled to France.
And they know the
back
deal.
in the day, who maybe went on their honeymoon in France
That'd be perfect.
and flew on Air France, or maybe even not just in France. This would bring back memories
Memories, for
for
sure.
anniversary purposes. Something that they can hang on the wall,
And then
you know, inside of anything.
you could even like get a really cute jewelry box, wrap
Yeah.
it all up, and boom, you got like a catch-all for jewelry.
Yep. Now this one
These are
is
nice.
when you would be able to smoke in the restaurants. Now we get those a lot.
Yeah.
But this is Big Boy.
R.I.P. Big Boy.
Okay, so this is Big Boy. Frisk's Big Boy, so Michigan Big Boy. Big Boy ashtrays when you could sit and smoke at the tables.
So
Now-
crazy.
Big Boys is leaving Michigan.
Yep, our last one's closing up, guys.
Yep, no, there's one at 12 in Hoover.
Oh, they're staying open?
It's Elias, I think.
Oh.
The Elias Big Boy Frisk.
Gotcha.
I don't know if they're staying open or not, but there is one there. So this would be good for people who grew up going to Big Boy, people who collect Big Boy, because there are a bunch of collectors, multi-collecting, so
Or people who have worked there when they were
Yeah.
growing up, that'd be perfect
great
for
gifts,
them.
add-ons to throw in there. Now this last one is a fun one, and she about had a heart attack when she saw it.
Yeah, because I love it.
So this is the Playboy Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. probably not there anymore. Playboy. I know it's hard to see when you're. Oh, that's
There you
good.
go. Perfect.
So you can see Playboy. Isn't that cool? So the Playboy clubs, Playboy hotels, stuff like that, those can be worth a lot of money. This one is not horribly expensive, so you don't have to worry about it. Plus, it's available on our eBay store.
Oh.
Not in the store. But if you see any that you like and you come in or call, we can always pull it off.
Yep. You just have to give us a heads up because we don't keep our inventory together.
No,
they
we
are
do
vastly
not.
separated, and it is going to take us a little bit of time to find
Yes.
that specific item.
And then some of the other ones. Wait, did I not bring them? I didn't.
The tires.
Well, I'm gonna get the tires. Yeah. And then there's like.
Oh, well, while we have this little interlude of time, fun fact, random smoking facts. More than 1 in 5 people over the age of 15 years in Cyprus smoke every day.
In Cyprus?
Yes.
Really?
Also, Cyprus is 60% of the world's population of cigarette butts.
That I did not know. And fun fact, cigarette butts are not biodegradable.
Yes. I don't know if American Spirits still do this. If you go to their website, they're free. You order little packets to your house, and then you put your American Spirits butts in them. You don't have to pay for a thing. You put it in your mailbox. The mailman will already know they'll put a postage on it, and they will recycle your butts for you, and they will turn them into flower seeds, and you'll get them back in the mail for free. Again, all of this is free. You just have to send in your butts,
That's
and they
pretty
send
cool.
you flower seeds back.
That's pretty cool. So, everything had ashtrays because advertising back in the day,
This one's cool.
when you did not have the internet, you did not have the ability, even TV for that matter, to help advertise your things, you had to get those advertisements
Out
under your
there,
face.
for sure.
Okay, so we talked about fans in the past and stuff like that, but ashtrays and matches were some of the biggest advertising campaigns on earth during the time. So you've got Stroh's, the Stroh's Michigan beer, and this was probably done, this is the official beers at the fair. So this was at the fair. So this was while you were at the fair. Now these ones that she's going to show you, these are from GM.
Yep.
And
Well-
these were probably during these. Oh, is it? Can you see it?
Yep. This one is
Okay.
just Chevy.
Yep. And these ashtrays were probably in either the manufacturing locations for the employees to smoke or at the dealerships.
I like how lightweight this one is.
Yeah.
And I really like this one. This was Charles W. Warren and Company, Jewelers and Silversmiths. And this is from Detroit.
hmm
Thought this one was really
So
pretty.
while you're shopping for jewelry, you could smoke.
Or again, this would be a perfect gift to give somebody if you fill it up with a bunch of goody jewelries, then wrap it up for them, and then it's a advertisement for an old jeweler filled with a bunch of jewelry.
Mm-hmm. And then there's, we have a ton of them because ashtrays were plentiful back then. And again, advertising is everything for a lot of these people. So this is, this one is Macomb Auto Salvage Inc. Used auto parts with a 778 number here in Macomb County, which is, some of these are cool. And if you have family that had businesses back in the day, and they advertised in any way, it was probably on ashtrays and matchbooks.
Matches, for
and we
sure.
probably have it. So this,
Thank you for the fact check, David.
What?
He did fact check me. American Spirits does still give you those pouches for your cigarette butts
Oh,
every 2
perfect.
weeks.
okay, so this is big. This is the tire,
Yeah, these are nice.
and they'll.
Make those rubber bands for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
So we rubber band it because the ashtray comes out, and then you have your rubber. You have your rubber side. Now, a lot of these are really cool, and you will find in a lot of these, it will say Firestone tires, it'll say Bell tire, stuff like that, and the advertisement was the rubber tire,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. And a lot of people who collect ashtrays must own one of these. It's nutty.
And we have a few of them
We do.
actually that are all different too.
Yeah, and so keep the ashtray inside the rubber. Isn't that fun?
Nice.
Okay, we'll
Take
redo
that
the,
back.
yeah, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then these types of ashtrays were always cool.
You guys didn't see that just now.
What did you do?
Rubber band broke.
Oh, these type of ashtrays are really cool. And you see it's got the two-headed dog here, or alligator, whatever you want to call it. And you notice there's no holes, right, in here for a cigarette, because you clip the cigarette in the mouth. Isn't that
Bougie.
cool? So that way it gave a little fun to your,
Make you feel like you're up.
like this is a treasure craft, and as you can see, The back says Treasure Craft on it. Woo! See, the back says Treasure Craft. Treasure Craft makes a lot of tiki stuff. The front says Las Vegas.
And I noticed a lot of them always have that under emblem, that like that little engraving on the bottom.
Yep.
Earlier, you told me this was just the lighter tabletop, but with no insert.
But with no lighter in it.
So
Mhm.
look how beautiful this one is. This is like pink marble, like pink agate marble.
Mhm. All right, I was going to show you a cool kidney-shaped ashtray, but it must have sold.
I was gonna say, I think we
Clear,
sold it.
clear glass kidney shape?
Yep, it was pink, right?
No, it was clear. But it must have sold. Because we had a gorgeous orange one here that sold
And
this
it was
weekend.
huge. If
which
you've
is
been in here, you
fantastic.
know exactly what we're
But,
talking about.
So, cigarette smoking, ashtrays have gone up and down and up and down in the decline because when you could smoke, they were at the highest. Then you couldn't smoke because of the banning, you couldn't, and so forth. Well, in 1999, a online company called The Big Ashtray, right?
Yep.
Called The
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Ashtray.
This is a really cool website, guys.
Yeah, decided to, it was the very first website devoted strictly to
To
ashtrays.
luxury ashtrays.
Yeah, and smoking paraphernalia. And they started the craze of the ceramic, glass, and ashtrays to come back. And today, they'll even tell you right on their site, to find the best is to check vintage.
Yep.
Because in the 50s and 60s, they knew how to make ashtrays, and they lasted, and they're in great condition.
And speaking of great condition, this is a
Smoker.
smoker. And I know you guys would probably already beat me to it. You're like, oh, I know what that is. You set your cigarette in here, and then the smoke comes out of the top like a little chug boat, and it looks like the little boat is just tugging along. And we also have ones with like fishes and whales on it too, and they're all different. There's so many different styles of these smoker ashtrays.
All right, so one of the things I want to show you is, okay, so on this Green King ashtray, right, you've got, see how little the holes are for cigarettes?
Yep.
Okay, so then you take a look at this Doral Hotel, and you look at, here, let's get maybe a little bit closer.
It's like I put your finger there, and like I can
Yeah.
fit like my whole index finger in
Yeah,
this one.
and this one you can't, because this one is for cigarettes, right? This is for cigars. And so cigars being fatter need a fatter place to hold it. One of the interesting things I learned about the history of smoking
Heck
and
yeah.
stuff was that during the rise and fall of ashtray popularity, it never affected the cigar ashtray.
Never.
Never. Because men never stopped smoking
Smoking,
cigars.
right.
And cigars are smoked as a luxury that you don't see people shopping that often with cigars. Sometimes you do.
David's in the comments. I need a cigar ashtray. Just gave him a whole new other idea.
And so cigar ashtrays, even though the companies were very few, they still made them.
Oh,
through
absolutely.
all of it.
They made good money off of it.
Right. Like today, nobody makes them.
Nope.
Nobody makes standard ashtrays.
But also, nobody pays attention enough to even probably know that that's a thing.
But there are companies that will make cigar and pipe ashtrays.
Yep.
But very few and far between. The cigarette ashtray is going to be difficult to locate, so vintage stores like this is where you're going to find them.
Perfect. Because they also have various, like us, we have so many various materials of ashtrays.
Mhm.
We have glass, ceramic, porcelain, stainless steel, plastic.
I mean, when we say they're art, we mean they're art. I mean,
How
if you look at
beautiful.
that, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. And they make them in uranium glass. They make them in everything, right?
Yeah, cars don't even come with ashtrays anymore. Yeah,
No,
that's right.
they don't. So this type of an ashtray is great, okay?
It's thick, it's sturdy glass. If you dropped it, it'll probably be able to handle it.
Yeah.
It's not thin. But now compared to if you drop the cigar ashtray,
Well,
it
that's
probably
good, yeah.
might break.
So there's all sorts of glass. And now,
And speaking of an ashtray that's not
Yeah, there you
glass, this is the most. And I don't know if it's like foil on the inside that's like flame retardant, but this is a squirt soda paper ashtray. And Grandma, if you're watching, I know this is your favorite. Like, was this a thing? Do you guys ever? Was this like a promotional thing that they would give away when you purchased? I couldn't.
I don't know where my dog ashtray went. I was going to show
The little tiny one?
it was a
It's right
pipe
there, right?
ashtray. It was a pipe ashtray. Look at this ashtray.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so here, hold that for a minute. So let me show you this ashtray. Now this is really cool, and this is made in the USA, and it is a whale or a fish, right? But look at this. Look at the part that holds the cigarette.
It moves.
It moves. So isn't that the coolest? I love it. Now, what could you use this for? Because it's not your standard ashtray. So you could easily use this for to sit out and just have pretty.
You could put pens in it.
You could put pen. Oh, that's a good idea. You could use it as. You could easily put a pen in it.
Pen in it, yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. It could be on your desk, and you could put a pin in it. Maybe a floaty.
Oh,
One of those
That's
floaty
a-
pins.
yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that cool? But this would be a great gift for somebody who has a lot of like tiki or nautical stuff at
or
home because
like
it would
anything
add.
wood.
Right, and they might not even need to put anything. Maybe a flower in it.
Like, look at these little ducks. This is also a really cool inner piece of this ashtray. I just want to pull
Isn't
it out
that
really
cool?
quick. I like the little handles that it has to give off that little ship vibe, but it also has these cute little duckies. And again, I would say if you could find a small enough ashtray, you might be able to interchange it. This one is another tabletop ashtray that has like some 3D art.
It's over your shoulder here.
I know she's looking like,
Uh-huh. Isn't she fabulous? Nice little.
what does that say? What does that say at the top?
This is a, I don't know, it's in French.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
It says, if you can read French, you guys can tell us, because I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Aren't these cool?
What do they clip onto?
Your chair.
Bet you didn't know that.
So what happens is, let's say you're at the lake, you're at the beach, you're at the ocean, you're on a sandbar, you're doing something
You're going
fantastic
fishing.
and fun, you're going fishing, you're doing whatever, and you open your chair, and this can clip right up against your chair, and you have an
I
ashtray.
got it. My dad's gonna be like, I
And
need
what's
one.
killer? What's killer? I'm from the '80s. Can you tell? Is it's 7-Up.
That's nice.
It's 7-Up, and it is an ashtray, so it can clip to your chair or whatever you want to clip it
And
to.
every time when I see things like this that have brands on it, I'm like, is this a promotional item? Did you guys get this after purchasing so many things?
Highly possible.
Because like it's a paper ashtray.
I know, isn't it crazy?
Fire, paper, planes, cigarettes. I couldn't. The mix of these two, my brain
Okay.
can't.
Because we have everything. You buy a new car, it doesn't have an ashtray. I have car ashtrays.
Boom.
Boom. Here you go. Car ashtrays. Okay, so this is literally a car ashtray
That's perfect.
that you can
size.
drop directly into your
Cup holder.
your cup holder. Drop it into your cup holder. This is an aftermarket, so it's probably meant to be put into a car,
Sure.
but they would fit in your cup holder. Look
So
at that,
makes
and then
perfect.
clip closed.
Whoop, no
Yeah.
mouse.
Okay, so entertaining back in the day. I just have to show this because it's fantastic. So this is Movie Land, Wax Museum. Look at that.
I love that
See the
inside.
back?
Yeah. Oh, it's what is
Treasure
it?
craft.
Treasure craft.
Isn't that the coolest? Look at this. It's a heart. It's inside Movie Land, Wax Museum, and it is a treasure craft, which is fantastic, right? So it would go. Well, this is Apple. Could fit into a tiki place or a nautical, but
Steve,
and it's numbered.
I have not. At least I have heard that name, but I don't know anything significant about it.
The Hindenburg.
It-
I have it right here.
Please enlighten me.
The Hindenburg. Oh, because of smoking. That's a good idea. It started due to smoking, right, Steve? Yes or no? I believe it was due to a spark from a cigarette.
Oh no, wait, really?
The Hindenburg was a blimp, and it's what they used to travel back and forth. So it would be a big, huge blimp, like huge blimp,
Sure.
with a cart under it this big, and all the people would be in there,
In it, yeah.
right? And this blimp is filled with helium
Oh no.
to keep it up. So one little spark caused that helium, the Hindenburg disaster that killed I think a few people survived. But I know a few people survived. But it was due to a spark that could have been a cigarette because it was big smoking back then. Never know.
Imagine, guys.
I'm sure they didn't ban it from there. But the Hindenburg's disaster.
Hydrogen blimp.
Or
Either
I
way,
said
it's-
helium, hydrogen.
Either way, it exploded.
And it exploded and fell, and the only people who survived it jumped out of it
Right.
as it was falling. So there's a huge movie about it.
Dang, David, we got another movie to watch.
The Hindenburg.
And how Jason brought up entertaining and smoking. This was I think it's really pretty. And we also have a good joke to go with this. Imagine going to someone's house party and them saying, "Go ahead, hang up your coat, have a seat. Would you like a smoke? Would you like a smoke?"
Okay, so yes, they did that. And here's another one.
And it comes with a matching matchbox that holds
Right.
your matches. And then I just found out, I don't know if you guys did this on purpose when I
Oh yeah,
opened
the
it.
inlaid. We left it in there. The inlaid. Oh, they everything was fantastic when it came to smoking back then. So yes, that's exactly what that was for. You'd have your hand-rolled cigarettes in it, and you'd have it sitting out. You'd have your hand-rolled cigarettes sticking out of here, matches over here, whatnot, so that when you had your party, you could offer them cigarettes.
Yep.
Now today, our cigarettes are not going to fit in there. So if you roll joints and put them in there, I'm coming to your party because
Let
I'm
us know where
telling
you
you.
live.
If you're giving away those,
If you're giving away some free joints, man, we might wanna.
but that's the only
to that
thing, unless
party.
you roll your own cigarettes. But this is what these were for. Now today they're going to be for little trinkets and stuff like that you can put. Something like this is just going to sit out with it, or you can keep matches in it and have maybe your you know what you could do? It just popped in my head. You have your matchbooks like this, and you put all your little cone incense in here
Perfect.
as storage. So this could be used for your cone incense. You could put your favorites in there.
And this could be used for your matches to light your cone
Put the
incense
box
with.
away of them, and then that way it's sitting on there, and then you find something. Oh, I got it. Hold on. And then you get this little.
Gummy holders, yeah. Hey, Patty.
I'm knocking stuff down. Then you get this fantastic rune thing.
Oh yeah, that thing's
Okay.
beautiful.
You get this fantastic little dish that has the different symbols on it, and that way you can set this here. You put your cone on it. You use
You
your
get all the good
matches.
vibes going.
Yeah, and then look, they kind of match.
They
so
match. Ah.
you could easily have a nice little incense center.
Heck yeah,
That'd
be nice.
something to that effect. Now, they didn't just stop there, now did they? So, because it was all about smoking, it's a lamp that has an ashtray attached to it. Imagine. Because, see the ashtray here, the different things?
Think
Right?
of the pain in the butt it would be to empty that out, though. You're gonna have to unplug the whole lamp.
Well, the guy who's sitting next to it does not care about that.
Yeah, you're so right.
Unfortunately.
You are so
back
right.
then. So today you would. But this is still good to put like you could put little stones in there. You
Oh,
could
that'd
do
be pretty,
anything.
yeah.
Now this is an Art Deco lamp. Look at that. Isn't
I'd
that
say the middle is
fantastic?
beautiful.
Look at that thing. So I wouldn't put anything in it.
I'd leave it.
I'd leave it the way it is. Sometimes beauty is just in the simplicity of the item
Less is
itself.
more.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Oh, I don't need this. This needs to go over here.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wrote down that was pretty cool.
Okay, so these, now here we go. Now do we have enough ashtrays? And we don't even smoke. Isn't that hilarious? But these little tin ones, see these? These little tin ones, these are all souvenir ones.
And they're lightweight.
And they're lightweight and they're cheap. They were cheap during the time that you bought them. Now this is not a cheap one. This is copper. And this is from Hawaii. But like these little Montana ones, so if you needed something just small that you can grab from the dime store or whatever
Yep.
while you're there. And these are highly collectible, you
Or
guys.
I almost forgot to get Grandma a souvenir. Let's get her
I mean,
something.
look at this Florida one.
It's gonna be an ashtray.
Look at this gorgeous Florida one with the hearts. Great for Valentine's Day.
Oh, perfect.
So even if you don't, and these are good to hang on the wall too, because they're great.
They're pretty.
Yeah. And so, for Valentine's Day, this would be ideal. Let's say you honeymooned in Las Vegas, you honeymooned in Florida or Key West or something.
It'd be
Something
perfect
like
for that.
this would
One of
be
our viewers had a
fantastic.
good question.
Yeah.
Do you remember candle holders with ashtrays?
Yes.
I've never
And we
seen
have one.
I'll say I've never seen one.
Hold on.
What is your name? Lynn. Lynn, we are about to answer your question.
If I can find where it's at.
I've never seen one, so I think he says we have one, which will be cool. But I think he showed you guys this. Look at this little frog. Isn't he so
I
cute?
guess we don't have one.
Oh, I guess it's sold. Sorry, guys. We don't
Yeah.
have to show you.
And it's similar to this.
Okay.
It would be similar to this, where the base of it, and like that, this is not one.
Right.
Where the candle would be, you'd light the candle, and the ashtray, because when you walked around,
It would.
you would smoke.
Oh my goodness.
And then you would just light it off the
I have a
candle.
serious question. Could you guys do anything without smoking?
No, not back then. Honestly, I swear to God, the doctor who delivered me was probably smoking a cigarette while he did it.
That's so crazy.
So yeah, you could smoke anywhere. So ashtrays were huge, but it's not about. Look at this frog.
I know. I showed it to him
reminds me of
again.
you.
Aw.
And I say that because she collects little frogs.
I do. I literally have 12 frogs.
Yeah, she cares for them. Isn't he the cutest? Look, he's got a double.
And I think those are supposed to be his hands too. He's like, I can hold this.
Oh,
cigarette."
it is. You're right.
He's like, I can
See,
hold
I
it.
love these fun little things that we come across.
The cast
the
iron
history.
alligator.
The history is ridiculous. Okay, so I do have this. This is a from the Bahamas, and this is probably 1960s, 70s, and this is how you would get your little ashtray.
Your mom's so funny. She's talking about some. No, he wasn't.
Oh, what? Oh, that was more of like just talking about the generality. I know my mom
And
was gonna
David's
say
mom commented, and she's like, I'm actually smoking a cigarette right now.
that. It was more. He probably wasn't smoking when he delivered me,
But probably right after.
But the time period
No, for sure.
would have made it okay if he did.
Sure.
Is what I'm saying. Although my mom would know, I wouldn't know.
She's so funny for even commenting that.
So this is Weatherby Giftware, and you would buy your ashtray like this and take it home. Isn't that hilarious?
In a little
And
box.
Apparently, these people took it home and left it in the box.
They
So
gave to him
this
just like
is
that.
new old stock, meaning NOS. So if you ever see NOS anywhere, it means new old stock.
Yep.
It means that it was made and purchased during the time in which it was.
Yep. But
never got taken
Yeah,
out
they
of the
just
box.
kept it in the box.
So this is how I look at stuff like new old stock. You got it for a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I don't like it. I'll only bring it out when they come over. And then it goes in the basement.
And then you keep the box.
And then you forget to pull it out when they come over.
And then they say, hey, whatever happened to that, what is that?
To the
That-
ashtray.
The Bahama Islands ashtray.
That we bought you when we were in the Bahamas.
And then you're like, well, I didn't go to the Bahamas, so I don't really care about the ashtray.
So a lot of things back in the day you would buy in sets.
This is also very crazy. Imagine you got to take down some notes and then decide that you need to spark up a cigarette.
So back
with
then
your
you
matching
would
lighter.
do pen sets with the matching lighter on the inside, right? Oh, I pulled the pen out, but this is the pencil, and the pen would be here, and then the matching lighter. So cool.
Imagine.
I know, it's crazy.
Everything
love
just
it.
in paper and fire. I don't
So
know.
we have so many ashtrays. Now let's talk about standing ashtrays. We get asked about standing ashtrays all the time, right? What time is it?
We have 10 minutes.
Okay, we get asked about standing ashtrays all the time. They seem to be all the rage right now. Everybody wants standing ashtrays. So when I say standing ashtrays, this is what I'm talking about. Something like this. Now this one is from the turn of the 19th century, or turn of the 20th century.
Will you grab the inner?
Yeah, the early 1900s. And it is all metal. Look at this thing. This is an antique. Okay, this is an antique. Look at the elephant. Isn't that fantastic?
Show it to the Facebook peeps.
Yep. Isn't that fantastic? And it's heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like good. Like it
Mhm.
won't fall over or get
And
knocked
then
over
here
easily.
you have your empty spot, right? Now here you have a glass insert that would go in here so that it's easy dumping.
So then you
right?
can just empty it out this
So
way.
for light smoking or for an entrance ashtray, something like this would be ideal.
We have, I think we have 4.
For
different-
you want to go grab the owl?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I have this one. And we look for them all the time, but they're getting hard to find because people love them, especially for smoking outside when you're sitting there just grabbing the ashtray. But this one is cool because it's almost got a nautical feel to me anyways. It's got the amber ashtray on top. We rubber band to help keep it in. And it's perfect when you're sitting. Now this one is awesome.
Thank you.
Look at this one with the owl on it. Now, what else can you use these for? Plant stands.
Plant stands would be great.
You can use them for plant stands. They're great for, the wood ones, the glass ones, the metal ones are good for outside, but you need to bring them in on inclement days.
And it would be perfect if you guys are just like, let's just say, for example, you have one of your friends that are coming over and they just don't happen to be smoking. You guys could put your drinks on this
Yep.
in between your chairs.
Yep, so if you're an owl collector or no one, this is ideal. It's hand carved. It's got the glass brown ashtray on top.
And it's lightweight, but it's still
Look at that.
sturdy.
And you can tell it's hand carved because of the inside. Look, yeah, thank you. See how you can see the chisel marks on it.
Same thing with the bottom. It's like
Mhm.
still super raw, and that's
Yeah,
great.
you can see the knot. So these are really cool. This one is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, our other creme de la creme is our glass one. Now, this one is, now, I wish I had our what is it called? The green, I'm losing my mind right now. Check this one out. The jadeite ones. We had a jadeite ashtray to die for, but it is sold. So this, you would just ash here and dump out. But check this out.
Isn't it pretty?
Look at that. Look at the bubble glass at the bottom. Isn't that stunning? This
It's
is
so
an antique.
pretty.
So it's nice and heavy. It's got the carry, so you can carry it throughout the house. These are so popular. Now, when I get mid-century ones in, the ones that, you know, bulbous and stuff, those fly out the door. Those can be worth a fortune.
Oh, I bet.
Okay. Standing ashtrays tend to run more than the rest because they are more multi-used,
Mhm.
meaning for outside, inside, for plant stands,
Sure.
for side tables, for stuff like that. But then your ceramic and glass can be high depending on who makes.
Oh, absolutely.
So the more space aged it looks can relate to the price.
Mhm.
The
Material.
the material that it's made from.
The care that it has had in its
Yes.
past life is a big one.
And with ashtrays, you want to be very careful because ashtrays are used. They were used, which means that they could have little flea bites, little
Mhm.
chips, little stuff like that. Now, it's always great when you come across some that are in perfect condition, but as you're shopping, buyer beware
Mhm.
because you want to make sure that you look at the piece in its entirety to make sure you get what you're getting. What's that?
Oh, I was just reading one
Oh.
of the comments. They said, they were watching it on YouTube, but then they decided to go to the bathroom, take a little break, click on Facebook, and they've seen us again. So now they're viewing us on Facebook.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. And so, what was I at?
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
We were
Go on.
we were talking about how when you look for ashtrays
Oh,
that,
yes.
that they've been around for such a long time and they were
Uh-huh.
actually used then. They weren't trendy now to where people are using them for catch-alls and
Right.
art and wall art and things like that. They were used and they had lots of love.
So with ashtrays, oh, I still have a nativity set up there. Okay, I'm still finding things from Christmas. I just looked up there and went, oh,
I
look.
didn't even notice it, to be honest with you.
So, AI, as is.
Yep.
Hopefully, stores like ours will take the initiative
To let you know.
check the item and make sure that you know what you're buying.
Mhm.
We do that religiously here. And if we miss something, this one will find it on the floor and bring it up to us and say, this does not say AI and it's got a chip on it. Or,
Literally.
this is not priced,
Or
which
like,
is
this
exactly what
supposed
we
to look like
want.
this?
Because we want to make sure that you as the customer leave here knowing that what you're getting is of quality use.
Because you don't want to get all the way home and notice, oh crap, I looked at the bottom of this cup and there's a chip in it.
Happens to us all the time when we buy.
Yep.
Okay, because we're not perfect and we can miss.
We're not machines.
So don't get bummed if you do that.
Yep.
If you do go out to a garage sale or you go out to a flea market and you buy something, you get it home and it's damaged in some way, just understand that it happens.
Its past life had lots of love in it, and you can give it
And
the same amount of love.
learn for your next time when you go
Yep.
out that you're going to double check it. Now, before we end, I want to show you this. Look at this. This is mid-century. Isn't this fabulous? This is a lighter. And we have AI on it, but that's okay because look at it.
I know, it's so gnarly.
Because look at it.
And you guys are probably wondering,
Look at
what
this.
does that do?
And so it would heat this up, right? And then you touch it to the tip of your cigarette.
It's like the little car ashtray,
Mhm.
you push it in, then you wait
Yep.
for it to go, then you
Yep.
take it out.
So it's called an electric match. An electric match. Isn't that different? I love it. Sitting on a desk in a mid-century
And it looks
room
nice.
is fantastic.
It looks beautiful.
This also would look good on anybody who likes anything aeronautics. I think it would look great.
It's
or
very
even
basic.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's very, very nice. So there's all sorts of stuff you can do. And I hope that, I mean, look at this. It's an eagle
Oh, that's cool. Or a leaf.
or a leaf. It can be whatever from here.
It could be whatever you want it to be. And over there, and on that angle, it looks like a leaf.
It looks like it is a leaf. This is a leaf, but from this angle, it looks like an
eagle.
An eagle. But this is a homemade, like we said, and you can see this is 1957.
Dang.
1957, homemade. So they probably made it in school. But if they did a great
They
job.
did a great job,
Isn't that
yeah.
beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Anyway, so today was our first hour day. Now it's going to take us 20 minutes to put everything away. But thank you guys for staying on with us for the hour.
Thank you for being a part of our not our first live, but like our first hour live.
And I got to tell you, I actually feel like I'm completed in what I'm saying.
Yeah, because we talked about a lot. We got through
Yeah.
our points and we made some really valid.
So, what is this? It's the 24th. So next week we'll probably, why don't we do music?
Music would be awesome.
We'll do music and we'll tie it in with maybe a little bit of Valentine's Day.
Sure.
But we had a customer request music, so
Oh.
that was last week.
So we hope you're watching today because
Yeah.
your request is
So
coming true.
we're going to talk about vinyl.
Okay, my favorite.
We're going to talk about 12-inch vinyl or standard vinyl 33
Sure.
and 78
Okay.
and the needles.
Okay.
And we'll talk about 8 tracks. Maybe we'll talk about the progression of how we bought music up to streaming.
Heck yeah, that works for me. That sounds
Does
great.
it?
What do you think? What do you
Awesome.
guys think? You think that sounds cool? I think it sounds cool.
Yeah, and we can tie it into Valentine's Day somehow and talk about music then and music now.
Yeah.
How exciting.
But before we do sign off, I do want to give my daily spiel that we do every Tuesday. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. For our YouTube folks, make sure you shoot us a subscribe.
Yes, please do.
But the last thing is we did talk about what you guys could do and what you can do with ashtrays. But if we missed anything, let us know in the comments what you guys do with your ashtrays if you don't smoke.
Or if you have a idea we didn't talk about, like we said, like
Yep.
she said, that way we can share it with the rest of the people on how to do them.
Yeah. Because if you have a good idea, we want to share it with
Yes.
people.
And again, if you have anything you want to hear about,
Let us know in the comments.
let us know in the comments, because when we talk next week on music for an hour, it's going to be a long one.
And I'm excited for this because I
Because
hope you guys are too.
I ran a music store for half my life.
And I'm obsessed with music. Like right now, there's a song playing in my head. You guys will never hear it though.
You see, in my head, I'm a perfect singer, and I can sing perfect. I can play every instrument.
And I can dance great.
I can dance great. I can cook. But then I realized I don't live inside my head. So anyways, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for following.
Thank you.
I'm excited. Yay!
Woohoo!
We will see you next week.
See you next
Bye,
Tuesday.
you guys.
Oh, we got some last minute commenters on YouTube. Woohoo!
Okay, let's see. Okay.
Next.
Are you sure